What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with episode 19 review of Avataro Sentai's Donbrothers. So, before I go ahead and just jump into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on my channel and you guys aren't subscribed to my channel, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and like the video. You guys subscribe to the channel. Please turn on your post notifications, share the video, and with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss Avataro Sentai's Donbrother episode 19, shall we? Alright, you guys, so I feel like a broken record when I come on every week about Donbrothers, but it's the truth. Every week, the episode is just as good as the last one. This episode was good, but it actually was quite sad, and it was very sad when you watch the episode. So the episode, we see Oni's sister. So she is at home. She's on her phone. She's scrolling, looking at a manga. And then her aunt comes in, and her aunt is talking to her and saying, you know, you sit on your phone, so boring. And she was like, what do you mean, boring? She's like, yeah, you know, back in my day, you know, when a girl was talking to a guy, she would, you know, backing up days of the landline, the pay phones, everything before social media and before cell phones came around. So, you know, you would get on, she said you would sneak out to go to a pay phone and, you know, call them up. If their parents answered, you would be so, you know, like, oh my God, their parents answered, click, things like that. So it's interesting because this generation, all they know is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Messenger, TikTok, texting. But you know, I come from a generation where social media didn't exist. Damn, I really am aging myself, but I come from an era where social media didn't exist, because when I grew up, there was no such thing as a cell phone. You had a landline, and you had landlines, payphones, and pagers. And you had certain people who had the car phones, but those were expensive back in the day. The car phones, like, it was an actual phone that was in the car that you would answer. So then, you know, cell phones came along, and cell phones, we couldn't text back in the day. You couldn't text people. And then, like I said, social media, for a long time, the only social media that was around was MySpace and Facebook. So I get where her aunt is coming from. Like, it's really, you know, telling of the times when you look at where modern technology is today versus where modern technology was in the year 2000, the 1990s, even further than that. Now, I'm born in '89, so I know the 90s era up until up until current. So it's just interesting. So then we see these men. So there's a one payphone left, which I know that recently in the world there was only one payphone in existence, but they just took it away. But when you think about, like, who actually people, I'm pretty sure kids, if you took a kid to a payphone, there was still a payphone. You took a child to a payphone, they wouldn't even know what to do with it. So the guys are getting ready to take the payphone, but the Hitatsuki appears. And so then we see as Oni's sister, as well as the others, are transported to where the Hitatsuki is. So they try to, they try to attack the Hitatsuki. There's something on my shirt, and I don't know what it is. They try to attack the Hitatsuki, but their attacks, it's not land. None of the attacks are landing. You know, Taru, he's slashing. Then the others, they blast, and eventually the Hitatsuki leaves. And once the Hitatsuki left, that's when Oni's sister noticed in the background that there was a girl in the payphone. So she went over to so she went home. No, she did go home. She was transported back home. When she got home, her aunt was like, wait a minute, where did you come from? She played it off, and then she eventually left. And when she left, she went back to the payphone where the girl is. So she opens the payphone, and she asked the girl, is she okay? And she was like, you can see me? We could be friends. Then she starts telling her blood type. I mean, she just told her whole life story. And she's like, can we be friends? And Oni's sister was like, yeah, we can be friends when I see you later. So she gets home, her aunt is fixing dinner, and then she looks over and there is the woman in her house, and she's talking to her, but her aunt thinks she's talking to her. And then Oni's sister looks in the mirror and she realizes that girl has no reflection. So she's like, can't be. It is. She's a ghost. So yeah, girl turns out to be a ghost. So I'm gonna pause here, you guys, and we're gonna move forward. All right, you guys. So after that, we find out a little bit more about this ghost. So the reason why she's in the phone booth, and I figured it when I figured out that she was a ghost, I'm like, that Hitsatsuki is from her. That's why you guys can't attack it, because it doesn't have a physical body. It's there, but it's not really there. So the reason why she's waiting in the booth is because of she's waiting on a phone call from someone. So then we see Oni's sister. So Oni's sister, she's telling Kiji brother as well as Saru brother about this girl that's in the booth. But both Kiji brother and Saru brother are like, what's the punchline? And she's like, no punchline. So eventually both Saru brother and Kiji brother were able to see her. So she's waiting. So I'll tell you guys what she's waiting for. She's waiting for a phone call from a guy that she was pen pals with. So she didn't have access to a phone where she was from. So he would call a payphone at a certain particular point in the day. She would go to the payphone and she would talk to him from the payphone. So that's who she's waiting to call. So, and she can't pass on until she talks to him. So also with this, she's a lot older than what she appears. Like I said, she's a ghost. So this was about 50 years ago. So Oni's sister has a drawing of what she believes he looks like. And I'm like, but that drawing, if this girl has been deceased for 50 years, you're not gonna find that person that she's looking for looking like that. And the name that Oni's sister told them, not Saru brother, but Kiji brother, he's heard that name before. So then we see Sonosa. I mean, he is just creepy. If somebody just comes up to you laughing like that, I would say, you know what, whatever you want, you got it. Like, I would just be terrified of him. And he asked the man for what he had. There was a man he sat next to, and he said, can I see it? The man said, here, you can have it, and left. I would have been the same way. He's just very peculiar. So then we see Kiji brother. So remember, I just told you guys a few minutes ago that Kiji brother thought he recognized that name. So he went back to his job and he found the name. So then we see Oni's sister. So Oni's sister is wondering how dates are going with this girl, because she's going on a date with her boss. She's going on a date with Taru and as well as Saru brother. Because each guy that comes in, she's like, are you him? Are you him? Which we know that they're not. So Oni's sister asked her, how is her dates? Her dates with Taru and Saru brother, they were good. But she realizes that this person that she's waiting for is the only person for her. And then she asked her, how was her date with her boss? Her date with her boss was terrible, because he's 100% a cheater, because he showed up for the date and then he got off the bike, and then people just swarmed up to him asking for pictures and autographs. And so she didn't like that. And I understand that. Who would like that? Like, be real, who would like that? So we're gonna pause here, you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the episode. So remember, I told you guys that Kiji brother went back to his job and he found the guy's name that is the person that this ghost is looking for. So he takes the guy to Oni's sister and Saru brother, and like I said a few minutes ago, she's been deceased for 50 years. So this guy is aged. So the picture that Oni's sister drew of what she imagined he would look like, he definitely doesn't look like that. He's a lot older and he doesn't look the same, if he ever looked like that. So since Kiji brother did find him, Oni's sister wants to introduce the two of them. And then Saru brother is like, I don't necessarily think that that's a good idea. So they ask him, well, why do you think that's not a good idea? And he says, because remember, they've aged. Well, she hasn't aged. She's deceased. He's older than what they, she looks like she's about late teens, early 20s. So late teens, early 20s, add 50 years onto that, he's not the same person that he once was. So they decide that that might not be the best possible way for them to talk. So then we do see what they decided to do, and I was thinking that was what I was thinking in the first place, because they want her to be able to pass on, which she can leave the phone booth, but in order for her to pass on, the thing is she's waiting for that phone call. So she finally gets her phone call, but before she actually got her phone call, the guys, once again, they showed up to take the phone booth, thinking that the monster was not there. But when they come to take the phone booth, she gets so enraged that the Hitaksuki appears. And like I said earlier, I figured it, but the Hitaksuki turned out to be her. So that's why they can't, land any attacks toward the Hitaksuki, because the Hitaksuki is a manifestation of her, and it doesn't, with her being a ghost, there's no body to make contact with. So in order for them to be able to defeat the Hitaksuki, she has to find peace. So she got her phone call. The guy answered the phone, and when the music in this scene, it changed. It got very sad and somber, and I was like, oh. And I figured, I'm like, this must be her first love. This must be the first person that she ever, talked to, because she wanted to meet him, and he says no. And she was like, she understood. I think she understood, but I don't know if she understood. But she said she did. So they had their conversation, and it was a really good conversation that they had with one another. And like I said, it was just really sad. It was really sad, especially, and she apologized to him for missing that call all those years ago. And he said it's okay. And we see what happened to her, which is really sad. What happened to her? So she was walking down the street. She had an umbrella, and she looked at her clock, and then out of nowhere, a truck appeared, and the truck had its which I don't understand how that happened. The truck had its headlights on. The truck blew at her, but still hit her, and it looked like the truck drove away. I'm like, well, damn, that was a hit and run. And she passed away. Aww. So we see the others. So they're battling with the Hitaksuki, but again, with the Hitaksuki not having a body, the Hitaksuki is kicking their asses. So then we see Jiru show up. So Jiru showed up, and then out of nowhere, our new villain showed up, and his name is Murasame. Don Murasame. So him and Jiru, they're battling with each other. The Hitaksuki, it went to the, I say the digital world. It went to the digital world, so the others followed in the mech. They still can't battle with it because it still has no body. But with the ghost down there talking to the guy, she was able to find peace, and she came to peace, and she left. So that when she left, so left the Hitaksuki. And did I tell you guys about Oni's sister? So the guy that likes her, he's been texting her like crazy. So he wants her to meet his mother, and she calls him like, "What's wrong with you?" And a woman answered the phone, and she was like, "That's his mom." But that's where the episode ended, you guys. Overall, once again, solid episode, great episode. It was just really sad once we got to the end of the episode with the ghost. So let me know what you guys thought about it. Subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications, share the video, and until the next time, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.